Hey guys, it's Ryan with janitorleads.com. Remember to visit janitorleads.com for leads that are just $7.95. These leads are unlike any other thing you'll ever find on the internet for janitorial leads. First off, they're guaranteed. So once you purchase the lead, we guarantee it to be real. If it's not, we'll refund your money. Secondly, they're hot and fresh, which means they just came into us. These are customers that are actively looking for leads and have solicited us through our website. And these leads, like I said, are just $7.95. If you buy 400 leads from us and just close one of those leads, you're already going to ROI that. So we know you're going to close more than one. The purpose of janitorleads.com is to help small janitorial businesses grow. That's it. We just have that mission to help those companies that are making a little make a lot. And so today I wanted to give you guys my kind of formula for dealing with escalated customer complaints. These are those customer complaints that come in that say, hey, we need to come in for a meeting. Things are serious. So I have a 3-step method for dealing with escalated customer complaints. Step number 1, I want to make sure the place is clean before my meeting. That seems obvious, but a lot of times people don't do it because a lot of times they just forget about it. So I'm going to send myself or managers in there for numerous days or nights before my meeting, and I want to make sure that place is spotless. I want to make sure all their complaints that they typically complain about are addressed. Pretty obvious. Step number 2 is I'm going to prepare an agenda. So this is actually a written agenda that I will come in with, and it's usually like 4 or 5 bullet points. And the first bullet point on that agenda is going to be always going to be where we went wrong. That's the first bullet point. The rest of the bullet points on the agenda are really up to you. It could be opportunities, it could be about communication, it could be about plans going forward. All those types of things could be additional bullet points, but I want you to make that first bullet point where I went wrong. And so the third step really goes into where I went wrong. So when you walk into that meeting, it's already an adversarial situation. The customer called you in, they're not happy. So when we sit down around the table, what I always do is I take control of the meeting right away. So I say, hey guys, thank you so much for allowing us to come in today. Before we get started, I really want to say one thing. And what is that one thing? I say, I believe that we have failed you. That's where we went wrong. So I'm going to go into falling on the sword right away and going through all the different areas where we have acknowledged that we have not lived up to as good as we can be. So I'm going to say, thank you for allowing us to come in. I've done a lot of reflecting here, and I know that we have failed you. I know that we haven't lived up to our scope of work. I know that in some instances our communication hasn't been effective, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go through 2 or 3 main points of how we failed the customer. And after I go through that, I'm going to make sure I end it with, but I believe that we have a solution to address that. And I say, before we go into the solution, do you guys have any other things to bring up or any other concerns other than the ones that I've addressed? They may have 1 or 2, but I tell you 99 times out of 100, going in and apologizing and leading the meeting with how you failed the customer is going to disarm them right away, because a lot of times they're in there looking for a fight. But if you kind of go in there and take that fight away from them by saying, we failed you, and this is the reasons why we failed you, and this is what we know we've done wrong. A lot of times they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Those are the things, you pretty much nailed it. And then what you do is you take control of the meeting, and that's where the agenda comes in. So after you've let them know how you failed them, you use the agenda to take over the meeting, which is really where you start to focus on the positive things. So these are the opportunities we have to improve communication. These are the opportunities we have to improve the cleaning or the scope of work, or these are the ideas they have. These are the next steps that we suggest. And it's super important in these instances to take control of the meeting, because if you didn't come in and make sure the place was clean, if you didn't come in and apologize right off the bat, if you didn't come in with agenda what is going to happen is the customer is going to take control of that meeting, and they're going to go through and attack you the entire time. They're going to want to get their blood. They're going to say, look at all this. Let's do a walkthrough, and I'm going to point out all the things that are wrong. Well, if we've already cleaned it, that walkthrough is not going to work. And then they're going to go through and say, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, and this wrong. And that's already going to put you in a bad position. Mentally, it's going to feel bad. And you might even become a little bit combative with the customer. So if you go in and say all the things that you did wrong, it takes that opportunity away from them. And then the third thing, if you come in prepared with an agenda, you really can take control of the meeting and turn it into a positive and a solution-oriented meeting. If you didn't have that agenda, you're not going to come with solutions already ready, and the customer is going to beat you up with all these problems, and they're going to say, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, you're going to be stumbling all over yourself because you got to think of it on the fly. And with the agenda, you can actually come with the solutions prepared. So that's my 3-step method to dealing with escalated customer complaints. Number 1, make sure the place is clean. Number 2, build an agenda. And number 3, make sure the first point of that meeting is you falling on the sword, you apologizing, and you naming all the things that you went wrong, that you know that you did wrong. Remember to subscribe to janitorleads.com. Talk to you soon.